Saturday, World Wide Web. This is James, your favorite ticker picker, with a special request video for Applied Digital Corp. Applied Digital Corp, man, this one took me a while to unpack. I didn't know whether it was stupid or genius. It's hard to tell sometimes. Applied Digital Corp does cloud services. They rent data centers to cloud customers, or they're hoping to. They seem to have a big footprint in trying to build a data center off of renewable energy for Bitcoin miners. It seems like that's their latest, greatest idea or function. So basically, they entered into the same problem that all the Bitcoin miners have entered, which is how do I get power to run all these computers to make me Bitcoin all day at an affordable rate? When you plug in a Bitcoin computer to your home, let's just say, you can do it at home. You can buy a Bitcoin computer online. You can plug it in at home. It'll cost you, and I'm just going to make up some numbers here. It'll cost you about $12 to $14 a month on your power bill when you plug this thing in. It's basically like a broken toaster that draws power. It draws power all month long, and at the end of the month, you are rewarded with Bitcoin that you have mined. And that Bitcoin in today's world probably be worth about $8 or $9 worth of Bitcoin you would get for your $12 worth of mining. So this industry chases free power or tries to create their own power plants however they can. They do solar panels. That's usually not enough. They do water wheels. Great idea. But again, it limits the size of your data center because the water wheel can only put out X amount of power. At some point, they gobble up all the free power that they were able to obtain, and then they're plugged into the power company for the rest of it, or if they want to grow. Now, when Bitcoin hit $60,000, you could just plug these little boxes in, pay the $12 a month, and get 15 out of it. It was really smart. And the companies that sell the boxes went crazy selling the boxes. They went to the moon. And then when Bitcoin fell, they came down from the moon because nobody wanted to buy the box anymore because it's like a broken toaster. You plug it in and it makes you less Bitcoin than power it costs you, unless you have a water wheel or some kind of a power grid of your own. The Bitcoin computer is a money losing device. They need Bitcoin at $60,000 or more to make it a profitable device. And it might be Bitcoin 80,000 might be the key number if you're going to actually use the power grid. Now, this company went to their website. Boy, it was confusing, but they seem to be obsessed with green energy and renewable energy and moving their data centers to green energy or free energy spots. I guess maybe they're building their own free energy spots or they're getting near renewable energy spots with their data centers. And apparently that transforms into some kind of a discount for the people that rent their data centers to plug in their Bitcoin machines so that they can run profitably instead of unprofitably. Now, this sounds like absolute genius if it was real. The Bitcoin mining companies, though, hundreds of them, are all been trying to do the same thing for many years now. They did it during their boom. They did it before their boom. They did it after their boom and when the Bitcoin receded. Now the only way they want to plug these things in is profitably. And Bitcoin, crashed down to 20,000. And then during the banking crisis, it puckered back up to 30. Then it went back down to 25. And now it's back at 30 again the other day. I don't know why it went to 30 the other day, but all of these companies rise and tide and die with the Bitcoin market. And this one here sounds like it's jumping on the train of that. This is a very small company. They did $14 million last quarter. They did 12 million the quarter before that. They did 7 million the quarter before that. These are all losses. How they lose, I guess they're growing the business up and maybe buying new data centers with the money and burning through more cash than they earned and stuff like that. But they're in the business of basically renting out the office space And apparently that office space comes with some kind of a deal on power. I don't know what the deal is. I just know that they're in the same boat as everybody else. Your power access is usually a certain amount, unless you own the Hoover Dam or you own X amount of a power grid, or you're near a huge enough of a power grid that's renewable where the guy might be willing to sell it to you cheaper. That would seem like the only hope. Um, but I got a feeling if they are in needs of building their own power stations, then the expenses on these things never end. They're going to be up to expand the company. You have to add more and more and more and more power stations. They talked about lowering congestion on the grid by opening up locations that were um, near power plants, but I guess they're renewable power plants. So, yeah. And I think we already know how that goes just by looking at the Bitcoin mining companies. It goes up when Bitcoin goes up, it goes down when Bitcoin goes down. It becomes completely not worth doing the lower Bitcoin is. Their balance sheet looks pretty good. They're right side up, which is nice. They have $23 million cash almost. They burn about $10 million a quarter. They don't seem to be profitable yet. I would foresee dilutions in their future and all sorts of things to grow this company up. At 14 million, they're probably not where they want to be right now. They probably want to be in the billion range. So lots and lots of these yellow lines coming in the future, probably for years. If Bitcoin dies, they lose all their tenants. The people aren't going to rent the office space anymore. They're going to break their leases and they're going to run for it. And if Bitcoin shoots up, then they'll be in a good position, possibly, if they can provide an adequate amount of free power or green power, maybe pack it in the rent somehow. And it's a mystery, and it's not something you can count on until you've heard the exact plans on how they're getting free power at this particular data center. Don't get sold on it. That's all I can say is you better know exactly that they own their own power plant, their own renewable power sources, and if they don't, they're reliant on somebody else for it. And this could just be a play on words. It could just be a pump and dumper, for instance. Maybe not that bad. Apparently, they are developing assets and doing stuff, but a lot of these people are very misguided. They're using stockholder money, they're not using their own money, and they can bring a bunch of hype about renewable energy, make it sound like if you rent our offices, you'll get a special deal on power, and maybe they are, but in the reality of all of the other Bitcoin miners, some of them have X amount of free power, and then after that, they have to pay for power. So they end up getting crushed in the bigger run unless they unplug everything that's not on free power. So I guess the only lesson I can really add to this is there is no free power. You have to go pay for it. You have to go buy the solar panels. You have to go buy the windmills. You sign up for 30 years in payments for these things. You need real estate for them. You need to constantly be adding more as this business grows. They would have to continuously be adding more and more and more. Um, these people can sell it back to the power company. Why would they want to sell it to Applied Digital Corp at a discount? I have no idea. That doesn't make sense either. It's like I can get X amount per kilowatt hour from the power company. Why would you want to set up the infrastructure to sell all your power to Applied Digital Corporation for nothing? It just does it defies logic, it defies reason, and it rides on Bitcoin, and that's why we saw this sudden boom. This is a they're claiming that AI is very strenuous on the grid also, and they just got their second AI customer. Apparently, they have a family of Bitcoin miners that are maybe moving in. 14 million a quarter. It is a lot of money. It's probably not on Wall Street, but it is a lot of money. It shows that they're doing something successful, and but the law of diminishing returns says that there's only so much that they can do at a profitable level until they run out of that free power source, until the free power has been used up. And then the other thing is your common sense. There is no free power. You have to go buy the stuff and make the payment to make the power, and then you're gonna have to charge the people to. You're gonna have to sell the power at the going rate or a couple of pennies more. I don't know, but yeah. So I don't know if you want to bet on Bitcoin. Here's a good outlet for you. If these people have a really smart idea, if they bought their own little Hoover Dam and it's paid for by the stockholder, and it's a free power generation system for data centers, this is a genius idea. It all is reliant on their power source. Find out where they're getting their power from, how they get the power specifically, and whether they own their power or not. And if they do, then it starts to make sense. And it seems like a really smart play. And it seems like a company that's going to go bananas in price. If they do not have their own little mini Hoover Dam, if they're buying water wheels or windmills and solar panels, you can count on them being pretty heavy with debt for a really long time and not actually providing any discount on power for any of their Bitcoin miners that happen to rent office space from them. I guess if you rent office or data center space, you can plug your machines in there, and maybe the power would be a little cheaper, you would hope. But you can only do that for X amount of customers until your power is sponged up, till they've used up your free supply completely. And if you have a free supply, you usually have to pay for that free supply. And in some cases, they get the stockholder to pay for the free supply. And that's very smart, because then from then on in the future, you could just go crazy with your data center and you got free juice for everybody. But there is no such thing as free juice for everybody, I don't think. I think there's free juice for some people and for a limited amount of people. But eventually, you need too many square feet, too many solar panels, too many windmills, um, and the expenses just go on forever, along with the growth of your company. You're talking forever to show a profit on anything, because they just have to keep buying more panels, more panels. You had customers, you got to buy more panels. You had more customers, you got to go buy them panels. These people want to move into a data center and get free power. I don't think that's happening here. Maybe they're doing some money with their just as a data center in general. I don't know if Bitcoin miners are flocking there. It doesn't look like they're flocking too hard. Well, in one quarter they went up by 10 million in new customers, so maybe they are doing some flocking. I don't know. Find out who their power source is. If their power source is understandable and is clearly large and clearly free, then yeah, you want to get all over this one. Did this guy reinvent the wheel? No one else has been able to figure it out. Did this guy figure it out and then turn it into office space to rent as a data center to allow people to plug their computers in at a super, super cheap power rate so they would be profitable all of a sudden? If it costs the power company $14 in electricity to make $6 in Bitcoin right now, that's unsustainable. So all these people are looking for somebody to sell them that same amount of power for $2. Can they really do that? And how many people can they do this with before they run out of the juice? Lots of questions. Where's their power source? Where's it coming from specifically? That's the kind of things that I would want to know about. If there's a few Bitcoin mining companies out there that have really invested in their infrastructure, they kind of look like they have their own boilers, their own, maybe they're importing natural gas and making their own juice at cost and then using it for their Bitcoin mining. And those are all like really smart ideas, I would think, because then you're not running into the power pickle. But these people might be running into the power pickle, or they'll find the power pickle, and they're going to either find it by growing up or they're going to find it by just trying to get started. But once Bitcoin prices fall, it becomes harder and harder for this to be a good deal. And if Bitcoin goes up, this becomes a better and better deal. If it is a deal at all. I don't know. I guess you'd have to be a customer of theirs to find out how good of a deal it is. But yeah, the stock news seems to be heavily rotated around renting data center space to Bitcoin miners, and so that they can turn a profit. And if they're not going to turn a profit, they'll leave. So I guess over the next few quarters, maybe if you can identify some of their customers that haven't left, they could always be replacing customers with new customers on these blue lines. Still losing money. I would expect this to go on for years. Yeah, I don't know. You just have to keep buying more and more grid space, or if you're just in the real estate business, if you're just going to rent data centers to people, that'd be a more simple business, you would think. Somewhere around this quarter, you would have seen a little bit of activity, maybe annually. Well, I guess back here they just got started. I don't know. If you're just renting office space, it shouldn't take you forever to show a profit. But in this case, they have to. I think they have to buy a grid of their own. And if they're not doing that, the whole thing's hokum. It's just too scary for me. But Bitcoin mining, everybody, a little AI, data center also. They just got their second AI customer. And cloud services. Very, very tiny company, though. And I don't like it at 10.25. I would think about it at $1. But God, I would get out of this thing just because I don't trust the Bitcoin. I don't trust it to go up. I don't trust it to go down. I have no idea what it's going to do. And I don't like coin flips with my money. And I want to know where they're getting their juice from, because the whole idea is stupid unless they're getting free juice, unless they can offer their customers the rent from the data center, juice included, low rent. Yeah, they would have to be leaving really quick. There is probably, or could very well be, a small amount of power that they can generate with their own free grid, and that would end quickly once they hit X amount of revenue. When they hit like 30 or 40 million in revenue, maybe that many customers, their grid might be full at that point. Then they got to go buy a new grid and expand it. More cost, more cost, more cost, more grid, more cost, more customers, more grid, more cost. That's how it works. And then Bitcoin crashes and the whole thing goes to shit and everybody leaves because your cost wasn't costly enough, or it was too costful. Excuse me. I'm James. Thank you for watching my video. This one could go absolutely nuts. If Bitcoin hits $60,000, these people might just be in the sweet spot if they have a great grid that they own, which is always limited, but check it out. I could be wrong, but learn exactly what the grid is, verify that it's somehow discounted heavily and advantageous to the renter of the data center. If it's not incredibly advantageous at all Bitcoin levels, including 20,000, Bitcoin 20,000, yeah, then this one's just not going to work. But thank you very much for watching my video, and I don't know on this one. Either way, it's just going to go right with Bitcoin. I'm James. Like the video and subscribe. Have a wonderful Saturday. Thank you.